MySolarBackup.com. That's MySolarBackup.com. Remember, the government doesn't own the sun, so go to MySolarBackup.com or call 1-877-327-0365.
Waging war on corruption.
All right, you are go.
It's Alex Jones, coming to you live from the front lines of the Infowar.
Okay, Dr. Jerome Corsi, during the break when I got him online here to be a guest, dropped a big bombshell on me. He has got it narrowed down to even who needs to be looked at concerning this birth certificate. This is obviously bombshell stuff. We've got Bob Chapman coming up. Doc could even do an hour with us, but I don't want to keep short shrifting Bob Chapman. But I definitely want to get Dr. Corsi back up next week as well. But for those that just joined us, in the last 3 years, I've looked at the birth certificate thing. I found it curious that they spent over $2 million now blocking the release of the long form. They had Chris Matthews and others with talking points say there is no long form. It doesn't exist, that the receipt was the long form. Then responding to Dr. Corsi's book a month ago, ahead of its publication, Where is the Birth Certificate, that I have here in my hot little hand. Obama comes out, obviously, with the press conference. We have a new video out breaking this down. Bombshell, new birth certificate, a forgery. That's up at Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com and up on the Alex Jones channel. And it basically encapsulates the latest developments. But now I'm getting even more sure that they're running scared and that the research of Dr. Corsi and others is spot on. Now, Dr. Corsi's been to Kenya. He's traveled all over, Hawaii, you name it, really trying to get to the bottom of this. And just a year ago or 6 months ago, he wasn't sure. He just said, clearly there's evidence of a cover-up, so we need to look at it. But now he's coming out and saying that he's sure it's a composite of other real birth certificates, that he now is getting hot on the trail of who he believes may know something about where this newest birth certificate came from. We have the headline from yesterday, Birther Bombshell, Corsi to release evidence proving Obama certificate a fraud composite. But then 2 days ago, we see Esquire come out and run a headline breaking in their politics section, not their humor section, Jerome Corsi's birther book pulled from shelves. Now, that's obviously done to create the perception it's discredited by the publisher. So people have runs on the bookstores and say, I want my money back. So they get scared and pull the book. It is extreme economic espionage. Then 5-6 hours after it's published, they come out at the bottom and bury in a paragraph, this was satire, when clearly it was put out to damage them. And WorldNet Daily Books, Dr. Jerome Corsi, Joseph Farah. This shows desperate concern by the White House and their known surrogate, Esquire. The same day, the White House said they're going to run on the birth certificate with coffee cups and T-shirts with a slogan, Made in America, with Barack Obama on it, with a copy of the new fake birth certificate. Now, we've looked at it. We're going to go over why it's fake, how it's a composite, the total proof, and more, and the fact that they blinked, Dr. Corsi and others, smoked them out of their holes, and the president blinked. Dr. Corsi, this gets crazier and crazier by the minute. Thank you for joining us.
Well, great to be with you, Alex. And I've never in my life seen the White House attack and attempt to suppress or censor a book as strong as mine. I mean, now the Democratic National Party and the President's Re-Election Committee are sending out this letter soliciting funds. They mention me by name in the first sentence and vilify the book. They even sent the letter to me, addressing me to give them funds. Of course, I sent them some money and got a mug. I mean, it's ridiculous. This type of attempt to suppress a book is counter to the First Amendment, and what it shows is that the information in this book, I've said this from the beginning, the White House, the Obama administration, they will not survive if the American people read what's in this book and understand it.
Well, you're absolutely right. Where do you want to start? Let's start with a recap of the old birth certificate they claimed was the original and no other long form existed. Then they flip-flop there. Now we've the proof that this new one is a joke-level fraud.
Joke-level fraud. And, you know, I want to make 2 points, Alex. First of all, if this new long-form birth certificate existed, why wasn't it released 3 years ago? Why didn't we have this instead of the short-form certificate of live birth? And, Alex, I got a call about 3 weeks before it was released from one of my sources in Hawaii, and I was told that the new long-form birth certificate had been forged. It had been slipped into the logbook. We actually had somebody go into the logbook and read it to us. I knew it said Kapiolani. I knew it said Dr. Sinclair. And I documented all that with Joseph Farah in an email. And I said we better get out front and say that it's likely to be a forgery. But we all decided, hey, this is great. If the book smokes out Obama and, you know, they blink, they feel fear, they have to respond to try to destroy the book, now we've got Barack Obama personally committed, coming to the press room saying, this is my birth certificate.
This is like Nixon coming out and lying in the press conference and saying that he wasn't involved in the break-in.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And now the White House is committed to this document. They can't say, oh, no, we meant the other birth certificate. If this document proves to be falsified, the Obama administration of necessity comes to an end because they tried to preserve the administration with a criminal fraud.
All right, let me stop you for a moment. You mentioned the fact that why didn't they bring this out 3 years ago and say that no long form existed? Why did Abercrombie get into office, the new governor of Hawaii, and say, I'm going to go down there and release it, and then tell two newspapers, as you reported, but mainline papers there in Hawaii, that I looked for it and couldn't find it. This is, quote, going to be a problem in the upcoming election. And then magically, it does pop up, and you've got moles inside of there, because you've already been there snooping around, that told you, hey, guess what, Dr. Corsi, it looks like I Dream of Jeannie, made it appear in there.
Well, and, I think the falsification occurred between the time when Abercrombie could not find any evidence of a long-form birth certificate, and we had that Michael Evans come out and say so, the celebrity reporter from Hollywood, saying he talked to Abercrombie, and Abercrombie could not find the long form. That's when the forgers started to work seriously, knowing my book was coming out. And by the way, Donald Trump, I discount. I'm completely convinced at this point Donald Trump was subterfuge, that he called me 2 or 3 times, got me to give him a copy of the book in advance. I'm convinced Donald Trump was, through Mike Cohen, it seems to be 50-50 working with Obama. They were close to Schumer. So Donald Trump says, let's beat the drums big, then you release the birth certificate. I'll say satisfies me. The press will go to sleep, and I'll get my new $60 million contract.
Well, I'll tell you the dead ringer. He'll get his new $60 million NBC contract.
Which is GE.
Which got bailout money and Rachel Maddow and all of them. But expanding, here's the dead ringer. The 2 days after he's, quote, discredited by Obama, he goes into a cussing tirade. He's a very shrewd guy, meant to further plunge him in the numbers and to further discredit.
Right. And by the way, I'm going to watch very carefully and see if Donald Trump pops up to build the casinos in Chicago. Now that Rahm Emanuel's there, another tall building in Chicago, I'll be there investigating the connections with the White House and what deals, wink, wink, went back how far. I don't trust it at all.
You don't trust a guy that owns a bunch of casinos? Everybody knows those are the good guys.
Look, I also want to show you, have you focused on the stamp of the Alvin Onaka stamp? I want just a quick, simple way to show people how comical this fraud is. I showed that the stamp, state registrar stamp, has a misspelling in it. Instead of the record, it's TXE record. Now, nobody uses a stamp with a misspelling in it. And then if you blow up to about 800% and look at the signature, Alvin T. Onaka, in the A, there is a smiley face. Now, I assure you, I've looked, Alex, at hundreds of Alvin Onaka signatures and 100 stamps. None of them have a misspelling, TXE. and none of them have a smiley face in the egg.
But, sir, that's my next point, is that they took it and put it on this green paper. The AP's put out 2 different versions that don't have the green hash paper. You've got the situation where it's clearly a computer copying a typewriter, but we already knew that and said that 3 weeks ago in our video with 700,000 views on YouTube, because you can blow up the pixelation of the typewriter print, and the pixelation of the same letters is identical. That's impossible with a typewriter, because every new strike is like a snowflake or a fingerprint, because it's how hard you hit the key, how it strikes the ribbon, the position of the paper. There's little, when it's blown up, microscopic ink blobs around it. You can't have identical same letters. That is only done by a computer that's designed to have fonts that look like typewriters.
Well, and, the administration will not show the original. 1961, there weren't any computers. Where's the original paper birth certificate, if it exists, submitted to forensic analysis? I was in Hawaii last week. I went to see it. No one in the Hawaii Department of Health would talk to me. I went over to Kapiolani Hospital. I said, okay, if Ann Dunham was here, I'd like to see the patient records for Ann Dunham. I've known for years they don't exist. Ann Dunham was never a patient in that hospital. Hospital threatened if I didn't vacate the premises, they would call the police. Now, if I were administrator of that hospital, I'd have a little shrine in the front celebrating that this was the birth hospital of the president, instead of continuing the cover-up by refusing to answer any questions or providing to the public the corroborating evidence that Ann Dunham had been in that hospital to give birth to Barack Obama.
Let's look at the computer manipulation of the text. You had an article at WorldNet Daily about that.
Yes, well, when you take a look at the text of this thing and you blow it up, first of all, I mean, you can even start with the number on the upper right, the 10641, which, by the way, is an out-of-sequence number and impossible. When you blow it up and look at it, the 1 is clearly a JPEG, a photograph dropped in there, and the pixelization around the 1 shows the attempt to not repair it very well. So it's still obvious. Whoever did that did not understand how to repixelate. And it's clear that the 1 is a JPEG and the rest of the number is not. Now, 10641 is impossible to be Barack Obama's birth certificate number. Obama was registered on August 8th, and when he was registered on August 8th, the number was stamped with an old one of the increment by number counters, 10641. The Nordyke twins were born a day later in the hospital, August 5th. They were registered 3 days later, August 11th, and they were given numbers 10637 and 10638. It's impossible, because that counter does not reverse, and 3 days earlier registered, Obama would have had to have a lower number, maybe by 20, from the Nordyke twins. So the number itself, going back to the short form, was fraudulently, they miscalculated, they got the wrong number, they were stuck with that number, so the number is also wrong in the long form birth certificate.
And then there's not the proper stamp that all the others have. I mean, there's over 50...
no seal.
No seal.
No seal.
Then here's the $64 million question. Why did they put out such a clearly shoddy version? Not just the layers, because you do have some layering in these different computer programs like Illustrator, but what the computer then witnesses is the computer sees the 6, 7, 8, 9 different layers. It sees the manipulation and then automatically sorts it. The biggest issue here, and what all the Photoshop people in my office and outside groups have pointed out, is that normally with a scan you would have one gradient of pixelation. Instead,
correct,
it is a cornucopia of different areas with high res over low res. I mean, I don't believe that they could be this shoddy is what I'm saying.
Well, I think, Alex, if you're the president and you want to forge your birth certificate, you can't put out a request for proposal and get the best guy in the country to come do the job. They were stuck with the guys who were close to them. And I'm pretty well on the trail of linking the characteristics of this document to someone who's going to have a lot of explaining to do. And I think when you see what I'm about to point out next week, we're hot in the trail of somebody who may have had a hand in this.
Now, Dr. Corsi, let me just stop you there, because you offered during the break, you said, I think I may break who this person is on your show. And I was like, First, tell us some of the proof and take us on the trail close to the person of interest.
I'm just going to give you the hint because I don't want to give it too far away, but there are characteristics in the long-form birth certificate as it's released and in the work of another person where signature items were put into the certificate of live birth to identify the forger. And the forger is someone who does not work in government. He works in the media and is close to the administration and would have been within the circle of friends that may have been called on to do the forgery or participate in the forgery. So I'm going to point out the signature characteristics of the work of this person, the signature characteristics in the document itself, and we're going to ask the public to draw their own conclusions and the person to come forth and explain why those characteristics are there.
So you've looked at this individual's signature, and then you've noticed that it appears...
the way they do their work and the way that the signatures are embedded in this document. You know, every forger, it's like, you know, a forger wants their Mona Lisa to hang in the in an art gallery in the Louvre, but they want down the road for some expert to notice a flaw or a signature element where he say, this is not the Mona Lisa, this is done by so-and-so. So the forger wants to be identified. By the way, in using that analogy, the certificate of live birth that the White House released is kind of like a Mona Lisa by numbers. It's that crude.
And you also have discovered initials in the signature, correct?
Well, yes, we have. We've looked. We've got initials. We've got the. I'm on the track of a person I think that was deeply involved when this was done, and I think we're going to be able to pin this down, not just that it's a forgery, but to look at the chain from which the forgery came from within the White House. And I should be able to have this evidence done next week. Also, Alex, I've been releasing, and I will continue to release next week. We can talk about even releasing it, some of it through you. The documents I've got from Kenya, which show that the grandmother's been saying Obama was born there for years. The government, the intelligence services in Kenya have done a search since 2007 for Obama's birth records, and they conclude in government stationery the 1961 birth records in Kenya were criminally altered with an intent to destroy or otherwise disguise Obama birth records in Mombasa. I've got that in government stationery.
Wow, that's breaking here right now.
That's right. And I've got the internal reports from the government. They identified Lady Grigg Hospital, a division of what was essentially Mombasa General Hospital, where they focused their investigations and believed the baby was born. But the government of Kenya concluded, the intelligence service, that the family of Obama was trying to hide an important birth fact. They believed the grandmother that he was born in Kenya. They searched and they identified criminal tampering with the birth records, not random criminal tampering, but tampering so as to hide or destroy Obama birth records in Kenya.
And you are going to produce proof from the government?
I've got proof from Kenyan documents, and I can work to get them to your producer. We're going to be publishing them in WorldNet Daily.
Wow, when is that bombshell going to drop?
I'll be happy to work with you on that starting Monday.
Okay, clearly, I mean, they've been covering up. They've been acting suspicious. We got the document the day they released it. We hoped it was real because, quite frankly, you know, I'm sick of this. I want to go against his record. But then...
But, Alex, I want to say you have done such a great job with your videos. You've done such, you know, WorldNet Daily has been leading this, but I'm going to reach out to the Alex Jones Show, and I'm going to share with you some material so that in your next videos you've got some primary documents and primary work that we're producing at WorldNet Daily. I'm going to make a special effort on this one because you've so impressed me with the extent to which you've exposed this with your videos and your radio show.
Well, thank you. I need to give you then my video editor's email, and then perhaps we can even...
We'll do all that offline. Let's get all that done offline, and we'll start getting things together next week.
Absolutely. Now, the issue I was getting to is that where there's smoke, there's fire. The evidence of the cover-up, as criminologists will tell you, is generally evidence of the crime. The absconding, the evasion, that's going on. To have Esquire, who I've noticed particularly with Obama is their attack dog.
I agree with that.
Come out with this serious economic warfare, vicious espionage. I mean, that's what it is. An attempt to discredit, destroy, have a recall, a run to return the book. The same day they announced they're going to run on the birth certificate and that we're all a bunch of crazy kooks. This shows that they know this issue isn't going away, and they're scared. I mean, if they knew this wasn't true, they would have just gone forward. Break down.
I've got, Alex, in the book, I've got 125 exhibits, including the mother's passport records where she crosses off Obama's name to take him off her passport in Indonesia, indicates his Indonesian name, Soy Barca. The school records where in Indonesia he's Barry Sartoro. The administration cannot tolerate if people read this book and see these exhibits. It destroys. This is Barack Obama, if he was adopted in Indonesia, is no longer a natural-born citizen. He's a dual citizen. All the research and evidence I show that Ann Dunham left Hawaii 3 weeks after the baby was born. I've got the college transcripts. I've got the courses she took. The university saying these were night courses. The apartment where she stayed. The babysitter to interview. Ann Dunham did not return to Hawaii until after Barack Obama left. Barack Obama Sr. left. Barack Obama Sr. was never married to Ann Dunham. There was never a marriage ceremony, never a marriage license. They never lived together as man and woman. Ann Dunham had been messing around, spending time in Bill Lederer's bar on Hotel Street in Honolulu, got pregnant, decided she wanted Barack Obama Sr. to be the father. He wasn't real interested, except that it might help him with his immigration and naturalization status to extend his stay in the United States. He lent his name but didn't commit the ceremony. And Ann Dunham herself ran off to Africa without him in the attempt to convince the African family that she deserved to be their princess. It didn't work. When she got home, Barack Obama still did not want to be her husband, and so she packed up baby 3 weeks later, went off to Seattle, and was at the University of Washington in Seattle. That's what happened.
And so what you're saying from your deep research and traveling all over the world, and you have all the proof here in the book that, by the way, we sell at Infowars.com on the online video bookstore shopping cart, you're saying that not only are they trying to cover up the fact that he was born in Kenya, but that he's a bastard.
Yes, and that the whole circumstance that's told in Dreams for My Father is a fabrication. Mommy and Daddy never lived together in Honolulu. Abercrombie never saw this little family together. People at the university never visited with the, Obama family and baby, because Mommy and baby, 3 weeks after the baby was born, are in Seattle and don't come back to Hawaii until after Barack Obama is gone. Barack Obama Sr. is gone. I've got I've had 8 or 9 articles published in the newspapers. This was the first African student coming to the University of Hawaii. You'd think the local story would be, African comes to the University of Hawaii, meets local girl, gets married, has baby. No. I've got all the addresses where Barack Obama Sr. lived. He lived as a bachelor. He had made no reference in any of the newspapers to having any child or wife in Hawaii. And
it's now come out of U.S., just a few weeks ago, big mainstream newspapers and magazines, I'll know you can source them, I just read them a few weeks ago, that he got kicked out of the big U.S. university he was attending because they said it looks like he has multiple wives, women that aren't his wives. He's like a playboy.
Right. At Harvard, this is in the immigration and naturalization file. Barack Obama Sr. at Harvard, there was a Kenyan exchange student in Boston. Barack Obama got her pregnant, too. And he had to fly her to London to get an abortion. This is in the Immigration and Naturalization Service file. Harvard and the INS concluded that his marriage to Ann Dunham was a sham marriage, just done in order to extend his stay in the United States, say he had a wife and a child that he never married and never lived with. And Harvard decided just to cut off his money because they couldn't put a stop to his philandering.
And by the way, this is all public. I mean, this is
all public info. This comes out of the INS file that's been recently released.
Well, by the way, his dad doesn't even look like him to me.
Well, I think with the story I've just told you about Bill Lederer's bar and Ann Dunham getting pregnant and deciding that, her fairy dream would come true if Barack Obama Sr. would just marry her. And then this child could be born, and she could go off with him to wherever for graduate student, return. He'd become president of Kenya, and she'd become Mrs. President. That's what Ann Dunham had in her mind. That's what she told Maxine Box.
And that's why Obama, Barry Soetoro, has always been obsessed with being president, because it was Mommy's dream to be the president. It was
Mommy's dream. With Daddy, who didn't participate. Daddy looked at this woman, and he said, look, I don't have any money. I'm trying to get through. He entered, I got the whole record. He entered the University of Hawaii as a junior. I know where he first lived in the YMCA building. He had no money. He got on the Phi Beta Kappa list and the dean's list while he was there. 3 years, he had a master's degree. He didn't want to live with this crazy white woman, Ann Dunham, who was determined to tell him, you're the father of my child, and I'll go to Africa to prove your family will accept me.
Sure, so she doesn't even know. She didn't even know.
Probably not.
Tell you what, stay there. This is too important, and this is why they're so scared. We'll be right back in 1 minute with Dr. Jerome Corsi. Incredible.
You are listening to GCN. Visit GCNlive.com today.
Diamond Gusset is proud to announce the anthem of the Patriot Movement. They're offering a free CD, T-shirt, and bumper sticker with a qualifying purchase. Diamond Gusset offers great products at great prices while keeping Americans working.
I'm looking for a factory where a man can feed his family. Not worried about them moving it south, closing the doors and shutting her down tomorrow. I'm looking for America.
Wear American and be proud. Go to gusset.com/America.
The land of the free and the home of the brave. Seems like I just woke up one day and it was gone, long gone. But I know in my heart it's still
Again, go to gusset.com/America today.
Waging war on corruption. Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
Look, to be clear, I got to tell you, Dr. Corsi is always very careful about his claims. He's very meticulous. And just finishing the book last week, I knew some of the information in here, but the exhibits, the documentation, and knowing this book was finished months ago, so much of what he's now put in the book, it's as if they're trying to psychologically inoculate with the Boston and papers and New York papers coming out and going, yeah, here's the State Department documents. Here's Harvard, kicking Barack Obama Sr. out for all these wives and fake marriages. All of what's now come out is vindicating what was already written in this book that was done months ago. And look, I've got detractors that lie about me all the time, and I don't even respond because it's a joke. The way they're acting, his press conference, the body language, the fakeness of this new birth certificate, the fact that they said it never existed, and that the last one was real. The governor saying, "I went to look, it's not there." Then it appearing, and now Corsi wouldn't come out and say he's hot on the trail and privately, tell me they even basically know who forged it if they didn't have the meat and potatoes on this. Dr. Corsi, getting back to this Esquire, I'm not a litigious person, but if I had spent millions of dollars to print up hundreds of thousands of books and the 100,000 or so to fly you all over the world and paid you, if I was Joseph Farah, I mean, this was, for those that don't know how the book publishing business works and things are, this was clearly designed, what Esquire did, saying it was discredited, Farah was recalling it. That was meant to cause a run on the book, people demanding money back, so people that are selling it in bookstores get scared and pull it off shelves, correct?
That's correct. The whole idea was trying to destroy the marketing. Get the book while it's just getting out there and tell people, it's misinformation. Classic misinformation campaign. Intelligence agents do it all the time. The book has been always on sale. It was never pulled. We wanted it to be called Where's the Birth Certificate? Because we were trying to induce Barack Obama to get so scared he'd release the document he released. I knew it had to be false. I know Barack Obama was not born in Hawaii. Kapiolani does not have the records of his mother, and they can't, I don't think, fake them.
By the way, the Kenyan security force, they wouldn't put you on house arrest when you went to Kenya if there wasn't something to hide.
Well, and I have the documents. I've begun to print them. I'm going to do a lot more next week, making it very clear the Kenyan government and the intelligence services did a deep search, a massive amount of searching, going for Obama's birth records. They believe they were there. The grandmother's been saying for years. The grandmother may have told Obama when he first came to Africa, I was there when you were born.
Why does Michelle Obama, in multiple speeches, we can play right now for folks, 3-4 years ago, give speeches saying we went back to Kenya, his home country, his homeland?
Well, I document in the book, Barack Obama, before he was running for president, was happy to say and have people write and print that he was born in Kenya. And I'm quite confident psychologically, subconsciously, it comes out from Michelle because he was born in Kenya. And the family knows it. The Kenyan government knows it. They can't find the records because the records were criminally destroyed, but they found the pattern of destruction of birth records in Kenya that documents that Barack Obama's records were intentionally gotten rid of. And the Kenyan government says, they say there's 47 instances in specific of where birth records have been tampered, and they said this is a pattern to destroy Barack Obama's birth records and to alter the birth records around him so as to disguise the pattern.
All right, we've got a few more minutes left with you on the other side. I've got a few other key questions and any other points you've got to make that you think are central. Bob Chapman will also be in the wings, and he'll ask you a question before you leave us. Dr. Jerome Corsi is our guest. It's on sale everywhere. Where's the Birth Certificate? #1 New York Times bestseller. Jerome R. Corsi, Ph.D. They are very, very scared of this book. Bottom line, I'm going to ask him on the other side, is this Obama's Nixon moment? Is this the beginning of a Watergate-type meltdown? Because there's no doubt they're running scared from this.
It could never happen in America, but it's happening right now. Gas prices are exploding past the incomes of millions of families. As gas prices and crop failures push high food cost, you can still get the best food on the planet from eFoodsDirect.com. Demand for food is high, but eFoods Direct has plenty of radiation-free food to meet your needs. With our new triple production capacity, you will get the fastest shipments of food in the country to help you get the most food possible. When you order 3 of any qualified pack, you will get the 4th one absolutely free. That's the buy 3, get the 4th free food special. Your immediate order will not only freeze the present low food prices, but also guarantee your food availability. Folks, I'm telling you, it is the smart move to go to eFoods Direct right now and buy 3 of any qualified item and receive the 4th one free. Get the most for your food dollar by calling 800-409-5633 or on the web at efoodsdirect.com/Alex. That's 800-409-5633 or on the web at efoodsdirect.com/Alex.
You may be arrested and or subject to other police action.
Tyranny is here. The grim future foretold in 1984 has become reality.
It really says that the state is God.
The United States is now recognized globally as one of the most oppressive police states on earth. This film conclusively proves the existence of a secret network of FEMA camps, now being expanded nationwide. This documentary exposes how the continuity of government program has established an all-powerful shadow state. Police State 4 chronicles the sickening depths to which our republic has fallen. Prepare to enter the secretive world of emergency dictatorship. Body scanners, sound cameras, citizen spies, stage terror, and cameras on every street corner. It's only the beginning of the New World Order's hellish plan. The police state isn't coming. It's here. Secure your copy today at Infowars.com or see it online in the highest quality at PrisonPlanet.tv. Hi, folks. This is Alex Jones. I'm looking for people that have the wisdom to spot savings, opportunity, and recognize risk. Saving means to make money. The Cal Ben Pure Soap Company can save you thousands of dollars and give you good old-fashioned real soaps that are triple concentrated and twice as good as what you're using now. Soaps made from vegetable and coconut oils that contain no useless dyes, perfumes, deodorants, or antibacterials. Your risk is the hundreds of hazardous toxic detergents that give you rashes, itching sores, and deteriorating clothing called lint. If you want something better, if you want something you've never had before, you have to do something you've never done before. Getting a free catalog is easy by calling 800-340-7091 or see Calvin on the web at 5starsoap.com. Take charge of your health now by calling 800-340-7091 or see Calvin on the web at 5starsoap.com.
Genesis Communications Radio Network proudly presents The Alex Jones Show, because there's a war on for your mind.
Well, very exciting. Dr. Jerome Corsi is going to be working with us, putting out these super viral YouTube news presentations as this news and information breaks. If you just joined us, last hour, they believe they know who the forger is. The document itself is a manifest unprofessional fraud at every level. They're just basically knowing if they release it, once the mainstream dinosaur media commits to it, they will then have a stake in not being discredited and will then always defend the lie. Also, he's breaking here that early next week at worldnetdaily.com, WMD.com, they will be releasing documents from the Kenyan government that there's been criminal tampering in the birth records of the hospital where the evidence shows Barack Obama was born. Dr. Corsi would not be going this far if he didn't have that information. Also, it's now been confirmed what's in the book, written months and months and months ago, by major newspapers in the U.S., that the State Department was asked by Harvard to take the visa, the education visa, away from Barack Obama Sr. because he had all these other women pregnant and fake marriages. You can just look at Obama, folks. It's not his dad, but clearly the fact is they were probably not married, so you've got the bastard news coming out. Not that that's necessarily a bad thing. The point is, life's a good thing, period. It's just that they've got something to cover up here, and that this is a composite. Dr. Corsi, is this the beginning of Barry Soetoro, a.k.a. Barack Obama's Waterloo? Because the info you've got in here with Indonesia and getting the dual citizenship, federal law, he wouldn't be eligible on that. I think that's the smoking gun. Is this the beginning? And are they fleeing forward? And now that's why they're running on the birth certificate being real, this whole Made in America, this fundraising. After 3 years of ignoring this, is this their Waterloo?
Yes, this is the beginning of the end. The Obama administration knows if the American people read what's in this book, where's the birth certificate, and understands it, studies the exhibit, the Obama administration cannot survive. And the other thing, if people got to understand, I wanted the title to be Where's the Birth Certificate? Joseph Farah said, well, they could release the birth certificate. I said, if they do, it'll be fake, but that's what we want them to do, because then Obama will be committed, Obama will have to own that document, and the minute we can prove that that document is fraudulent, the Obama administration crashes.
Why would they bet everything on such a fraud? The CIA, the State Department, they're masters at putting out near-perfect forgeries.
It was the only thing they could think to do. They had to forge it within the group. They couldn't go outside the group. They picked the best. He wasn't that good. They were stuck with it. And they used the strategy. They decided they'd go with this strategy to try to preempt the book. Remember, they can't stand the publication of this book. Once the American people read Where's the Birth Certificate, they've got enough information to know that Barack Obama is not eligible to be president. He's not even who he says he is. That's why all these documents are being hidden. And the administration can't stand that anybody will read it, so they say, let's rush together, let's put the birth certificate out. It's the only thing they had left to save themselves. That we can count on the mainstream media, they'll say the story's dead. All the while I'm saying, okay, look, I'm going to take a hit. For a while it's going to look like I'm not credible. But when we prove the birth certificate's a fraud, when we prove there's no patient records for Ann Dunham at Kapiolani, then the administration crashes, and they crash criminally. I suffer a little bit of a hit for a while where they make fun of me. In the end, the vindication with the truth is what I'm after. And the truth is Barack Obama was not born in Hawaii. The proof is he's born in Kenya. The proof is he may not be who he says he is, may not even know or want to reveal his true birth circumstances. and he was a dual citizen, which independently disqualifies him at birth from his father, if that was his father, in Kenya, and in Indonesia from his stepfather when he became Barry Sotoro Soibaka.
And you also dropped the bombshell that Donald Trump has contacted you. He got an advance copy of the book.
Donald Trump called me, pumped me for information, got us to send him an advance copy of the book. You know, I had no assurance that that wasn't going right to the White House. Mike Cohen calling me, talking to me. They're talking to Charlie Schumer. Look, the whole deal was a setup because with Trump, immediately Obama says, look, you come and make the issue very big, get it on, then I'll release the birth certificate. You'll be a hero. You got the birth, and then just drop the issue.
Then the Bin Laden, this whole thing, you can see the scripting.
And if Trump were truly in this, and I told Trump, he called me up, I said, Trump, you get back into this and say that you want verification of these documents. You want to see the original best evidence, the original paper document, not this electronic nonsense, subjected to forensic testing, get it out of the vault. If you're going to show the birth certificate, show the original, get it forensically tested, and go to Kapiolani Hospital and say, show me Ann Dunham's patient record. Trump wouldn't do either one.
And then we've got NBC that we know got massive bailout money.
From GE, with GE, virtually having an office in the White House, and Trump breathing heavily about casinos going to be built in Chicago and maybe some tall building. I'm just waiting for Trump to show up with competing for those contracts. I'll be there investigating it.
Well,
I don't like being played for a chump either. I gave Trump information, trusting him, expecting him to stay in this battle, and not to have me walk out on the plank while he sits in the boat, because I got my $60 million from GE. I don't care about Obama's birth records anymore.
Well, in closing, you see I want to go back to this Esquire for folks that haven't read it. It was written clearly, as a news piece to try to say that you guys had disavowed your own book,
right? Which we did not.
And I'm not a litigious person, but I think Farah has an absolute.
Farah's going in today's WND top Skyline headline. Farah says, "Help me to own Esquire." He's suing Esquire.
Well, you have to, because
we will.
This is a new level. I mean, just a month ago, we got the internal George Soros Media Matters documents where they said we're going to destroy alternative conservative media. And
correct.
You go there, I'm attacked almost every day. I'm seen as conservative, even though I'm just a constitutionalist and nonpartisan.
I'm attacked every day.
And so we know we're on the list, and they say we're going to infiltrate, we're going to destroy, we're going to use
after the sponsors.
We're going to use spies. They said
they're targeting now companies like Orbit. They're saying if you advertise with Fox, we're going to run a national campaign. This is blackmail. This should be criminal. What Media Matters is doing, targeting out companies that fund Fox and saying we'll destroy your business if you do that. That's a clear form.
It's racketeering.
It's racketeering.
Yeah, but worse than that, in those memos that Politico got...
It's extortion, too. It's also a form of extortion.
Well, yes, but in there they say we'll infiltrate into their companies with spies. Now that's espionage.
Well, that's espionage. They're doing espionage, extortion. This is, these are thug tactics capable of Chicago. And if that's what Soros wants to do, funding Media Matters, so be it. But I think it's criminal. I think it's a RICO violation.
Well, there's infiltrating and getting your people hired into companies to, quote, destroy them. It's
absolutely beyond the pale. What they tried to do, with getting us with this magazine, going out and saying the book had been pulled from the shelves, when that's completely untrue. You've got Esquire out there on the limb trying to destroy our market. We spent the whole day, people wanting, we shouldn't go buy the book, it's gone. All that misinformation, classic misinformation techniques from intelligence agencies. And if that's what Esquire wants to do, then let them explain in court how they had an intention to destroy the book and what damages that causes.
Well, it's bottom line, it's meant to cause people to run back to the store saying, I want my money back. Then all the big booksellers, Barnes & Nobles, panics and pulls it off shelves.
And have you ever seen an attempt by the administration, by someone in the White House, to destroy a book? In the history of book publishing, I don't remember any president going after a book like this.
Nixon actually went after some authors and people, and you saw what happened to him. This shows that they are running scared.
They're in their last leg. They're gasping. They're desperate. They're using fraudulent methods. They're using strong-arm tactics. And I'm an author. They want to vilify me. If that's what they have to do to stay in the White House, so be it. I'll tolerate that for a while. The final analysis, if that document's fraudulent, then we're vindicated, and the White House is going to have to explain to criminal court why a criminal document was brought out, and Obama will have to explain to the American people why he resorted to crime to stay in office.
All right, we've only got about a minute and a half left, and we're coming back for the rest of the hour on economic news. Bob Chapman, formerly with intelligence, U.S. government, syndicated.
I know Bob well, and I highly admire Bob.
Let's bring Bob up just for a quick question, final question for Dr. Jerome Corsi. Listening to this, Bob, do you have any questions or comments for Dr. Corsi?
Well, I love his work, and I am absolutely thrilled that he's done it, and I think there's a good chance he can take him down with it. And so everybody who's listening should be proud of Jerome Corsi.
Well, I want to endorse Bob's newsletter. I've been reading it for years. It's the best, most insightful newsletter in the business. I rely on it.
Well, there's no doubt, Dr. Corsi, you hit the barbed wire with this, and you're always a very careful person, and I've read the book. There's definitely a cover-up going on here, and that itself in law is a crime, covering up a crime. They're desperate. Something's going on, and they put out this shoddy fake. There's no doubt about that. And so are they trying to cover up he's a bastard? Now, that's what Wayne Madsen has said. And
I don't think it's necessarily that they care that he's a bastard. What they're covering up is that the mother, desperate to find Obama and to induce him to be the father, took on her own a trip to Africa to try to convince the family she should be the princess. That's the story.
Yeah, because he was in line to get into politics.
And Barack Obama Sr. couldn't care less, and the family couldn't care less. They took this crazy girl over to Mombasa Hospital and let her have her baby. They sent her home. That's her missing 6 months, and she goes to Seattle.
All right, Dr. Corsi, thank you so much. Let me say bye to you during the break. We're coming back with Bob Chapman on a host of issues straight ahead. Stay with us.
$3.89, $3.99, $4.09. How much pain at the pump can you handle? Ease your pain now. Did you know you can increase your gas mileage by 25 to 45% and reduce carbon emissions by adding water? Go to SaveYourGasMoney.com and learn how you can save an average of $700 to $1,500 per year with our hydrogen on-demand technology. See how it works at SaveYourGasMoney.com. Our complete systems work on all cars, SUVs, trucks, motorcycles, and boats for gas, diesel, and propane engines. Our compact gas-saving stainless steel units install easily in about 2 hours with no engine modifications and no extra parts needed. It's completely safe, requires no maintenance, great technical support, and comes with an incredible 90-day money-back guarantee. Visit SaveYourGasMoney.com or call 888-887-9981. That's 888-887-9981. Ease your pain at the pump with SaveYourGasMoney.com.
Big Berkey water filters are in high demand. Storable foods are also in high demand. BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com has always kept our focus on the Berkey water filter products. But increasingly, our customers have been asking for storable foods. After months of research, BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com now offers great tasting, long-lasting, storable foods. These ready-to-eat meals are packed in airtight nitrogen pouches. All you do is just add water. And because they're sealed so well, they come with a 25-year shelf life. Combine our Berkey water filters, which are powerful enough to purify treated, untreated, or even stagnant pond water with our storable foods, and you have a winning combination. Remember, we offer free shipping on every order over $50, and GCN listeners receive 5% off all ceramic filter systems. Visit BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com or call 877-99-BERKEY. That's BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com or call 877-99-BERKEY today.
Alex Jones here with key information. The U.S. government is a Ponzi scheme that relies on the Treasury continuously selling large amounts of government bonds to foreign central banks. With Japan about to become a seller of U.S. bonds in order to rebuild its own nation and the U.S. antagonizing China by calling them currency manipulators. The Federal Reserve, which is already buying about 70% of U.S. Treasuries, will soon be the only buyer left of U.S. Treasuries. Our friends at the National Inflation Association believe that the U.S. dollar will soon become worthless, and Americans will see the purchasing power of their incomes and savings destroyed. I strongly urge my fellow Americans to sign up for the free NIA newsletter at www.inflation.us. If you are sick and tired of the economic propaganda in the mainstream media, sign up for free at inflation.us to learn the economic truth that the mainstream media ignores.
Food prices are spiraling out of control. In order to survive, you will soon need to produce some or all of your own food in your backyard or small farm. Many years ago, sought-after radio guest Marjorie Wildcraft and her family began working to find the easiest ways to grow food for the crisis we are now facing. Marjorie created a video that is the fastest way to learn how to grow food. You'll learn the most efficient gardening methods, myths and truths of orchards and edible landscaping, effective predator protection, and even home butchering. Everyone is talking about Marjorie's DVD, and it's highly recommended by Jim Rawls, Jack Spurko, and Bountiful Gardens. Read her free reports on how to have a green thumb, making free fertilizer, and answers the question, do you need a gun to garden? If you want the security, savings, and freedom of food self-reliance, buy Marjorie's DVD and get the free reports at backyardfoodproduction.com. Again, that's backyardfoodproduction.com.
Chapman's our guest. I want to get into the economy, a bunch of important police state news. Bob's inside scoop, he has so many connections on the Dominique Strauss-Kahn situation. But finishing up with the birth certificate, Bob, you know, I mean, out of hundreds of broadcasts I do a year, every year I do 5, 6, 7 shows on the birther issue and say, I don't know, but looks like they're covering something up. But now, the way they've put out this shoddy certificate, the way they ran dirty tricks against WorldNet Daily and Corsi, I mean, there's no doubt that thing's fake. There's no doubt they said the last one was the long form and nothing else existed. There's no doubt Governor Abercrombie said he went and looked and couldn't find it, and then suddenly it's there. I mean, what on earth is going on?
Well, they're trying to cover up. You know, this is Brzezinski and Soros who put this guy in the position that he's in. They figured they could bulldoze the American people into believing that he was what they say he is. And now Jerome has written a book that tells you that isn't the case. And this is what investigative journalism is all about, and the quality of telling the truth. And it's going to be crippling. They should have thought of all this. And now you get the attack coming forward by Media Matters, which is Soros's company or whatever they call it, and you know, I also and went to your staff here a couple of weeks ago that Media Matters was attacking G. Edward Griffith too, and they gave me the information which I sent on to Ed. But anything goes with these people. And they're gonna try to rough this thing all the way through, and they are going to be unsuccessful.
Well, when they get up there and say that it's crazy to question government and that we just need to believe what we're told, everybody knows government's constantly caught lying. And then why do you think it's such a bad forgery? Because I mean, the whole thing's a joke.
Well, you're right, and I mulled that over when I was first informed of its quality, not being a professional in that area. And either one or two things happened, and Jerome gave one of them. They had to rush to get this thing done, had to be done within their own circle, and they picked what they thought was the best person to do it. And as you pointed out, had they gone to the FBI or the CIA, particularly the CIA, they could have made them a wonderful forgery, and but they didn't do that. I just think they're dumb.
For those that don't know, the British and U.S. forgery departments of the intelligence services keep every known typewriter used, copies of old paper, or original reams. They have whole warehouses This is admitted. They can fake digital cards. They can fake identities. They do surgeries so that people can pass. I mean, they're masters of this. They would have, out of whole new paper, made a perfect fake. But instead, we get something that looks like it was made by Mickey Mouse.
It's a good way to put it.
So what, they just had some good fella, I guess, one of their little, mafia buds to do it.
Well, whoever, I think the point is Jerome is going to, in finality, prove that the President of the United States is not who he says he is, he's not an American citizen, and so on and so forth. And that could take him down from office. Then we get Joe Biden, if you can believe that. But that's the way the changes of power are in the Western world and have been for some time. And I expect that there'll be, all sorts of things in the media. The media, of course, is committed, so they have to defend him. But in the final analysis, he's going to be out of office, I think.
Well, that's right. Once the media unquestioningly 2.5 years ago bought the other certificate as the total proof and the end-all be-all, and then once they committed to this new lie, they don't have a choice. They're going to continue digging the hole deeper for themselves.
That's right. The old adage I learned when I was a little boy, you tell a lie, you got to tell 20 more to make up for it. It's hardly worth it. And that's why my whole life I've tried to tell the truth each and every time, because I don't want that burden of having to worry about the lies I got to tell.
Well, exactly. That's what's so great about doing the research, telling the truth, is that you don't have to remember anything. I mean, you're just going with what the research is, and it's right there. You're not having to remember what you said before about this or that. That's why so many of these politicians have got to read off teleprompters, is because they're just complete liars, and they've got to have experts that go over it and make sure the lies have continuity. I want to shift gears now with Bob Chapman of the International Forecaster when we come back and run over a host of news. Also look at how they're trying to suppress gold and silver. Also, government orders YouTube to censor protest videos. This is confirmed. Just so many incredible developments straight ahead.
We're on the march. The empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
This is Alex Jones with 5 good reasons you should consider buying a solar power generator. Number 1, new climate legislation could easily double or triple your electric bill. Number 2, our new energy czar wants to control how much power your electric company allows you to have. It's true. Total government control of electricity in the name of smart grid technology is coming. Number 3, in some areas of the country, the power grid is dangerously overloaded. And now new socialist legislation is only compounding the problem. Number 4, dangerous weather is always a threat to local grids. Every year, thousands of families lose their power from weather-related outages. Number 5, a solar power generator provides powerful backup insurance and peace of mind. Folks, I really believe in the solar power generators offered by Solutions from Science, one of my oldest sponsors. You can get more information at www.mysolarbackup.com. That's mysolarbackup.com. Remember, the government doesn't own the sun, so go to mysolarbackup.com or call 1-877-327-0365. It could never happen in America, but it's happening right now. Gas prices are exploding past the incomes of millions of families. As gas prices and crop failures push high food cost, you can still get the best food on the planet from eFoodsDirect.com. Demand for food is high, but eFoods Direct has plenty of radiation-free food to meet your needs. With our new triple production capacity, you will get the fastest shipments of food in the country to help you get the most food possible. When you order 3 of any qualified pack, you will get the 4th one absolutely free. That's the buy 3, get the 4th free food special. Your immediate order will not only freeze the present low food prices, but also guarantee your food availability. Folks, I'm telling you, it is the smart move to go to eFoods Direct right now and buy 3 of any qualified item and receive the 4th one free. Get the most for your food dollar by calling 800-409-5633 or on the web at efoodsdirect.com/Alex. That's 800-409-5633 or on the web at efoodsdirect.com/Alex. A very wealthy U.S. citizen is predicting that in 2011, we will witness the most important day in America in more than 50 years. He says it will change everything about our lives. The way you shop, travel, invest, educate your children, and even how you take care of your health and your own family. Now, this man has made some outrageous predictions over the years. The crazy part is, he's usually right. You see, he predicted the collapse of GM, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and America's biggest mall owner, General Growth Properties. In fact, Barron's called his work a dire prophecy. Recently, he created a video, which you can watch online for free, detailing his biggest and most important prediction yet. And it's a real eye-opener. I can't stress this enough. You should at least watch this free video online today. He explains everything you need to know, including simple steps you can take to protect yourself. You can find the video at www.endofamerica3.com. That's endofamerica, the number 3.com. Watch the free video at www.endofamerica3.com. That's endofamerica3.com.
We now take you live to the Central Texas Command Center in the heart of the resistance. You're listening to The Alex Jones Show.
We're going right back to Bob Chapman in a moment. We're carrying a new animated DVD film that is Disney quality. It's just incredible. The American Dream, and it goes over the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, how the Federal Reserve operates. This is the film to show children, but also adults. I mean, it is very entertaining, but really illustrates the tyranny of these people, and I am just amazed at the work that these filmmakers have done. It's available at Infowars.com. Also, the new Dan Dix film, proving that there is a global standardized program of setting up police states and nations, and they illustrate police caught in provocateur actions in the new film, Into the Fire, available at Infowars.com. Of course, Jason Bermas's excellent film, The New World Order Defined. Again, A New World Order Defined, Invisible Empire, breaks down their total master plan. That's all available at Infowars.com or by calling toll-free 888-253-3139. And it is your purchase of the books, the videos, books like Where is the Birth Certificate from Infowars.com that finance what we're doing here. Please also support our local AM and FM affiliates and their local sponsors. If you're a business and believe in the information being covered here, please step to the plate and become a sponsor of all the great new affiliates that we're getting. On average, 3 new affiliates a week. It is very important with George Soros and the White House and all these calls, Bill Clinton coming out saying they want a ministry of truth to shut down alternative media, the fairness doctrine. It is more important than ever to support not just this show, this broadcast, but all alternative media and the affiliates that bring you this information. Speaking of sponsors, I want to tell you about the National Inflation Association. For 2/3 of Americans getting ready to retire, Social Security will be more than 50% of their income. And for 22% of upcoming retirees, Social Security will be their only income. With massive inflation wipes out the purchasing power of American Social Security payments, retirement in America will become a thing of the past. We will see millions of retired senior citizens re-enter the workforce, combined with the millions of government workers who will soon need to find new jobs when the dollar becomes worthless and the government goes bust. It will be nearly impossible for upcoming college graduates to find a job in the U.S. Go to inflation.us and click on the videos tab to see this breakthrough film now, The College Conspiracy. Again, that's inflation.us to watch the film today. And next week, we're going to have it in high def. It's an amazing film up on prisonplanet.tv. They've also told us we can post it there. Okay, going back now to Bob Chapman. Bob, I've got all this economic news. China is now the top gold bug. Financial Times is reporting. The Wall Street Journal is also reporting Mexico buying massive amounts. Meanwhile, the system with papers trying to suppress it. We've got the currency wars accelerating. Bloomberg's reporting they have a HBO special coming out that literally worships Henry Paulson as our savior. Headline, Paulson cast as stoic savior in HBO. Big, a Wall Street saga. I mean, this is just incredible. We've got China continuing to dump its purchases of Treasury notes. What's happening in the economy right now?
Well, first of all, people think that by the end of June, and these are usually people who are professionals, that what is called QE2 is going to terminate. And the bottom line, very simply, is they terminate, the economy totally collapses. So they have to keep it up, and they will do it under another name. They'll dream something up. They got people working 24/7 doing just such things. And so it's going to continue. That is what the stock market's telling you, and that's why in the Dow it moved from 10,800 to 12,800. They're discounting and the news ahead of time, and the market normally does that because the insiders know what's going on. Who are they? J.P. Morgan Chase, Goldman Sachs, Citigroup, Deutsche Bank, HSBC, and on and on. So they know what's going on because they create the news. They don't get inside information. They make inside information. And so that's why you've seen what you've seen in the market defying reality. And I think probably once it becomes known that QE3 is in process, then the market will probably start to come up because all the good news will be out. Continued spending of money and not a collapse in the economy. Gold and silver are going to continue upward based upon, number one, gold being the only money in the world, and that's been proven over the last 2.5 years in its head-to-head fight with the dollar and all other currencies as well. And both silver and gold in the future will move higher. We just had a big man-made correction, and that will be overcome. Is this the bottom? I don't know, but I don't care. You just keep on buying because it's the only safe place to be. It probably is a bottom. And we had a very good day today in the market, and it's continuing. And so there are a lot of peripheral things going on. The book by Jerome Corsi explaining the birth of the person who calls himself president. And then there's other things outside that. Now, Alex, as you know, I've been talking for the last couple of years about the possibility of government doing something to or with 401ks and IRAs. And I think that's getting closer and closer. Tip-off here recently was we don't have the money to carry us up to August the 2nd when supposedly we're going to have an extension of the funding of debt. So what government has done, instead of putting money into the retirement program like they're supposed to, they're not going to do that. They're going to use it to run the government. So what they're doing essentially is, I would say, illegally robbing the pension plans of government employees. Now, the next step from there is the $6 trillion, which are in retirement plans as 401ks and IRAs.
By the way, let me just briefly interrupt you because the very same international combine that is robbing Greece, now Spain, Portugal, trying to rob Iceland, Ireland, they're on record last week saying that the governments are saying now we're going to take your private pension funds and selling it like that's welfare, your own pension fund. And we've got mainline Republicans pushing, taking and cutting the pensions of public workers and union people when money's already been paid into that. It's just been stolen out the back door. So they're selling this austerity, and they're also going to go after the private pension funds. So folks need to get through their heads. We need to write off the quadrillion plus in derivatives and not go out and rob the unions and the government pension funds. Because here's the other problem. They're going to play all of those public workers off against everybody else because they're going to be fighting for their financial future when at the end of the day, we should be looking at the bankers first.
Well, you're right. And the tactics will be formulated in a way that people will think it's good for them. We had a report come out and in February called the Annual Report on Middle Class. And in there, it talked about guaranteed retirement accounts. Of course, that's by the government. And the government would run the money, and that means that they would use the money that presently was in IRAs and 401ks to fund the government. And that would be one of the ways that they would fund the shortfall in the purchasing of Treasury and agency paper. Agency is Fannie, Freddie, Ginnie, and FHA bonds. And so they're going to try to relieve some of the pressure on the Fed, like under QE3. They'll have to come up with a minimum of $1.7 trillion. And if they're going to replace what stimulus is not going to make available from the legislature, they're going to have to come up with $2.3 to $2.5 trillion. So they're trying to relieve them of that problem in part.
And remember, they're already robbing everybody's pension funds, public, private, and savings with the inflation. What is the real unemployment at from your research, and what is the real inflation at, and where is inflation going? We now see the head of Walmart a month ago, Ben Bernanke this week. They're now admitting, hey, inflation is going up, but it's no big deal.
Well, it's around 10%, and last May, I made a prediction that we would have QE2 and stimulus on the same order of QE1, and we would have QE3. And I also said that inflation by the end of this year, now this is going to be a year and a half by the time we get there, would be 14% or higher. Right now it's around 10%. The government's talking 2.6%. And this is only this year.
But everybody knows that's pure bull, Bob. Milk, eggs, meat, fuel, power bills, phone bills, everything's skyrocketing.
And that's true, and it's going to continue as long as they continue to do what they're doing. And next year, we'll probably see 25 to 30% inflation, and they'll say it's 5 or 10%, whatever it is. And, of course, that won't be true. And then, if we have this QE3, which I think we will, we'll be looking at maybe 50%.
By the way, Bob, you've been right about 97% of the time that I've been reading you for 14, 15 years and interviewing you for close to that. That's very frightening because you predicted everything that's happened so far to this point. You're saying 25, 30% next year.
There's a good chance of that if they continue to do what they're doing. And then the following year, we could get up to 50%, which is called hyperinflation. It's the bottom edge, the beginning of hyperinflation. Some hyperinflations go 2,000 or 3,000 times. But, for America, 50% is god-awful.
Well, they can't give Wall Street a haircut. They can't give Wall Street a haircut. They're not going to do that. They're not going to ever be able to cut enough government and entitlements to ever fix this. So it looks like it's a foregone conclusion.
Absolutely. And it's part of their plan to bring everything down so that everybody will say, please save me, feed me, put me in one of your camps so I'll be safe, and I'll accept world government.
But...
And you spoke about Wall Street not accepting. That's part of what the Dominic Strauss-Kahn affair is about. He said, look, let's help these nations. Let's not loot them.
Let me stop you.
Exact words he used.
Let me stop you because I want to reset here, and I want you to take your time on this because that was my next point. Do you concur with Dr. Paul Craig Roberts that this is a setup? I mean, it's admitted that his head spin doctor and one of their campaign heads for Sarkozy did release the arrest before it even happened. That's admitted. They admit that, and it's admitted that they're acting like he's already guilty. I mean, I don't like this guy. I don't like globalist, but he had said that we're getting diminishing returns. We've ground the third world so bad that we might want to start forgiving some of this fiat debt. I mean, what's your intel on what happened with Khan?
Well, of course, Wall Street's anathema to that because they've been looting since 48. Actually, the IMF was formed in 44, but it really didn't function until 48. And, Paul Craig Roberts is correct. And it's as simple as that. I have a great insight into French politics. And the reason why is I've followed it very deeply for years. I speak French, and I went to the Université de Genève. And one of my good friends, I haven't talked to him for a long time, is Jean-Marie Le Pen. He used to be the head of the National Front. And his daughter Marina is now the head of the National Front. And I've known her since she was a teenager because I used to go to their home and have dinner and things like that. And I noticed today that Madame Legrand is being talked about to be the head of the IMF. Now, the reason they would do that is she's the natural one to run on the Socialist Party ticket, and she would be the next in line after Strauss-Kahn. But they want her out of the way because they want Sarkozy to win. And so right now, Sarkozy is going to get like 35% of the vote prior to all this happening. And Marina's got 21, which is very high for them, because when Le Pen ran for the presidency, he only got 19%. He was disemboweled, if you may, from a political standpoint. Anyway, she's brilliant. She was trained as an attorney, a criminal attorney at that, and she's the sweetest, nicest, one of the nicest kids I ever met. But anyway, I think she's got a shot at him. And it's going to be very interesting, because if the people in France say, well, we don't want this guy, and we really wanted Strauss-Kahn, maybe we should have this lady as our president.
And by the way, the vast majority of the French do believe this was a setup with Dominique Strauss-Kahn.
Without question. And my comment all week has been the same as yours. I don't care for him, and I never have, and I won't go into it. But there's no question. A man's a billionaire, long, long line of very influential, wealthy, famous people, and he has a $3,000 suite, which he paid for, as far as I know. And men like that do not pursue the things that he's been accused of. It's as simple as that. And he was set up, and there were intelligence agencies involved, et cetera.
Well, that guy could order up any women he wanted, and that's what they do. But sometimes these globalists do go wild like this. My issue is he may have even done it. They've removed the protection from him now.
Either or. And it really doesn't make any difference at this point, because he's out of the IMF. He won't run for the presidency. And their goal was to get rid of him in that powerful position. And he's been gotten rid of.
Well, it's admitted in the French papers. I feel
sorry for him, because he's in a hardball league, and he knew that.
Well, Kahn, it's admitted that Sarkozy put him as the head of the IMF to get him out of politics.
Probably. Well, I'll tell you, what's going on in Europe right now, anything can happen, and Marina could win.
All right, well, looking at what's happening with Europe, you predicted 3 years ago that it would start in Ireland, Portugal, and spread, and that the euro would die. Where are we right now on that front?
Well, Greece is not cooperating. Samaras, who's the head of the other party, the one that's not in power, which is Papadreou's group, his father was president before him during the 80s. Terrible crook, number one, and an ardent communist. It's not going to work. The other party is not going to go along with their let's steal everything in the country program. And they're going to have to give them a partial default. And that'll last about 2 years, and the problem will be back again. And then they've got to deal with Ireland and Portugal, who are in the same positions. Spain is in dreadful condition. Hundreds of thousands of homes empty. And, of course, you probably have heard that about 50,000 people from Europe bought homes in Spain and then were told they didn't own them. And there's been a big fight over this. You don't see it in American media.
No, there's huge protests going on right now. Things are really heating up into a major powder keg. We'll be right back.
He looks 5 years younger.
He doesn't fall asleep at his desk like he used to.
He no longer drinks those energy drinks all day.
He used to be gloomy. Now he's upbeat.
He obviously has lost weight.
He's now drinking Moringa in the morning from BigJoe.us. Moringa is a delicious, all-organic, 100% bioavailable blend from the miracle moringa tree, considered by many to be the most nutrient-rich plant ever discovered. Moringa in the morning will suppress cravings for junk food and energy drinks and make you feel like a kid again. Drink Moringa in the morning, available from BigJoe.us. That's BigJoe.us. Vibrant Health is just a click or call away at BigJoe.us or 800-503-0515. 800-503-0515. That's 800-503-0515. Drink Moringa in the morning.
Hello, friends. This is Alex Jones. The earthquake, tsunami, and nuclear disaster that killed thousands of Japanese citizens is nothing compared to the devastation that could be caused by hyperinflation that will soon hit the United States and could lead to millions of Americans becoming homeless, all caused by the devalued U.S. dollar. While the mainstream media continues to ignore inflation, our friends at the National Inflation Association provide a free weekly newsletter that educates Americans to the facts and truth about the U.S. economy and inflation. I urge you to sign up at the NIA's free newsletter at www.inflation.us to learn how you can not only survive, but prosper during the upcoming hyperinflation crisis. Silver has more than doubled since the NIA declared silver the best investment for the next decade on inflation.us. The NIA's team of expert economists are happy to answer any economic questions you have about inflation, debt, currencies, real estate, precious metals, and commodities. Visit inflation.us to learn the economic truth that the mainstream media ignores.
Go solar for cheap. Want to use solar power but the price is too high? Now you can build your own solar panels for less than $200 at 123cheapsolar.com. Don't laugh. We've sold over 45,000 solar do-it-yourself kits. Watch the step-by-step videos that even non-handyman types can use. We offer a 60-day money-back guarantee. Go to 123cheapsolar.com or call 800-713-0486. 800-713-0486. Reduce your foreign oil dependency when you go green with 123cheapsolar.com.
Hi, this is Ted Anderson. Have you ever wondered why banks, stockbrokers, investment advisors won't talk about gold IRAs? They've been available since 1986, yet the financial industry won't recognize the value of gold for your retirement. Gold has outperformed paper investments, yet no word about IRAs. If you would like to have gold for your retirement, call 800-686-2237. Don't get left behind by rising inflation and low returns. Call 800-686-2237. Secure your future and call 1-800-686-2237.
We're going to go 5 minutes into the next hour to take a few of your phone calls. Appreciate everybody holding. There's a bunch of news I didn't even get to, and I'll have to cover it Sunday. Government orders YouTube to censor protest videos, and legal actions are being taken. It says this content is unavailable in your country to government removal by request. TSA, more abuses there. New biometrics technology allows government to know what you're thinking. Paul Joseph Watson, that's the claim. It's just quackery where they can then claim you're a terrorist because the computer says so. You know, like lie detectors were proven to be a fraud decades ago, but still people went to the gas chamber for it. Also, University Campus Watch Citizen Spy Program partners with Threat Fusion Center to report suspicious activity. They're integrating those into the local spy centers. Big Sis and DHS push ID program for travelers. You're still going to get groped, but now they'll openly decide whether you get groped or not by giving you a special card. That's part of these internal passports. Bob Chapman, it is just getting crazier and crazier. What do you make of the U.S. Supreme Court and the Indiana Supreme Court, particularly the Indiana, openly saying in the decision that the Fourth Amendment was evil and that a great evil has been defeated, and now the cops will come in your house for any reason or no reason at all? I mean, these people are just consciously being evil.
No, that's right. And there are policemen, law enforcement people, much to our chagrin, who are criminals. And that's been proven over and over again. And so people who have their house invaded by police because they have to pick their house might find things missing from their homes. For some time, we've had policing organizations in different states preying upon people by stopping their vehicles and then searching them, and if they have any money, say $5,000 or $10,000 or more, they confiscate it. It's been going on for a long time, but now that the states are so hard up for money, they're making a racket out of it, and they admit it. In fact, I have a video in tomorrow's issue explaining that in detail. Very, very interesting.
Well, that's gone on for a long time, Bob, but now they're even taking a couple $100 and from old ladies and stuff, and then admitting they're doing it. I mean, no judge, no jury, no arrest. I mean, it's just total highway robbery.
And the police chief was asked in Tennessee, what happens? Do the policemen lose their job if they don't find lots of money? And he said they could. So, I mean, this is a criminal enterprise. It's unbelievable. Well, that's going to be in tomorrow's issue.
Yeah, let's be clear. Let's be clear. And we posted the video a few days ago on Infowars. I've seen it. I should have played that effect. I mean, that's what I'm saying, folks. There's so much. Used to corrupt cops did this quietly. Now they go on TV and are proud of it. Go ahead, Bob.
You're absolutely right. They are. And they think it's okay. Anything goes. And I also cover at the beginning of the U.S. section tomorrow what we've talked about regarding the commandeering, actually, in the future, the distinct possibility of that, of 401ks and IRAs. And there's another bill been presented, it's called SEAL, 401k savings accounts. This is something that they've dreamed up so they can keep people from getting their money out of their 401ks.
And they're also talking nationally. They're also talking nationally about another withholding where they take it and claim it's a government 401k for you, like Social Security, but you have Social Security and this new private one.
That's right. And it flows into the general fund, and they steal it all.
Well, why shouldn't they?
Unbelievable.
I mean, why shouldn't they, Bob? They've got cops coast to coast taking money out of old ladies' purses. I mean, it's just insane. Back in 1 minute, 5 more minutes with Bob Chapman. We'll jam in a few of your phone calls. Stay with us.
Thank you for listening to GCN. Visit GCNlive.com today.
Hi, folks. This is Alex Jones, and I want to tell you about the Silver Lungs Generator. Now you can produce pure and endless colloidal silver and deliver the solution directly into the bloodstream by breathing the solution through the lungs. The respiratory system is the first line of defense for airborne pathogens and viruses. The Silver Lungs Generator infuses the respiratory system with your self-produced nano-silver solutions and also delivers the silver nanoparticles instantly into the bloodstream. With continued legislation threatening the sale of nano-silver products, you can now produce pure and endless colloidal silver with the Silver Lungs Generator. Very easy to follow step-by-step instructions are provided, making production fast and simple. Go to www.silverlungs.com today and learn more about the breakthrough technology of the Silver Lungs Generator. That's www.silverlungs.com.
Coast to coast, direct from Austin. You're listening to the Alex Jones Broadcasting Network.
If you want to get a free complimentary copy, digitally or hard copy, of the latest international forecaster, you can call 1-800-686-2237, 1-800-686-2237 when you call Midas Resources. I wish I could get to all these calls, but let's try to jam in some. Stan in PA, you're on the air. Thanks for holding. You're on the air with Bob Chapman.
Thank you very much. Alex, I was on hold for, an hour and a half at least regarding the pre-tribulation issue that you brought up earlier. Is that all right if I talk about that?
Yeah, no, but we won't have time. You don't have to preface it. Yeah. People saying that the world's going to, the rapture's tomorrow, and these same groups do this over and over again, and it's idiocy. Go ahead.
I'm the founder of a small disability ministry, 501c tax-exempt nonprofit, and we deal with this all the time. And really, that's an outgrowth of the prosperity gospel. And shortly defined, the prosperity gospel is name it and claim it. In other words, in Jesus' name, if I believe I should be driving a Mercedes-Benz, well, I claim it in Jesus' name. And if they, in regards to suffering, which you were getting to earlier, they believe that suffering only happens because one of two reasons, and that's because it's either the devil's fault or it's sin in that person's life. Now, I had a daughter who, at 2, she stopped talking. At 2 1/2, she stopped walking. At 2 3/4, the seizure started. And she had 2 disease states, Batten disease and Williams syndrome. Long story short, we're actually receiving a patent for our work. We extended her life 5 years. She passed on about 2.5 years ago, and this is for God's glory. And her life was for God. Because when the disciples came upon the blind man, they said, "Hey, Jesus, who sinned, this man or his parents?" And Jesus said, "Neither sinned. This man was born this way for the glory of God." And then he healed him. So
that's right. Nobody can calculate God's plan. Stan, I'd love to talk more, but we're almost out of time. What do you think about these movements with the 2012 for the people that aren't religious to buy into end of the world, Christian groups, Catholic, Protestant pushing it? I mean, do you agree with me, Bob, that it's a way to just get people to think it's all over, so why should they be involved in anything and just lay down?
Yes, and it's an ultimate distraction. There's nothing closer to people than their religion, and to distort it is very powerful.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just sick and tired of it. I mean, let's say the world's going to end next month. You're still supposed to stand up against evil and corruption. It's the ultimate cop-out.
That's right. So you got to keep on doing what you're doing, and if it ends, it ends. That's too bad.
Well, they've only had this doctrine the last 150 years, and I know you've studied history. How many times have people laid down to tyrants thinking it's the end of the world?
Oh, it goes back for centuries. Look at the early Christians. And who knows before that? We don't have, complete histories of things that happened perhaps 200 years and further before the birth of Christ. The great library in Alexandria was wiped out by fire. Probably had most of the world's history in there.
Yeah, it did. Really, it's a way to give up. And I see this
it certainly is.
I see it in secular people. I see it in other religions other than Christianity. To just say, "Oh, the world's over, so I'm not going to do anything." I mean, I call it the ultimate loser pill. It's just, I'm just giving up.
Well, we try to help those people and do the best we can doing it.
Well, you watch. The world isn't going to end tomorrow. The rapture isn't going to happen tomorrow. And we're going to be the discredited ones because we're right, Bob.
And that's okay. That's the burden that we have to carry.
Bob, it was great having you on this week, and I look forward to having you on with us next Friday ahead of the holiday weekend. And be safe, my friend. We really appreciate you there at the internationalforecaster.com.
Well, thank you very much, and thank you all for listening. We really appreciate it.
We do, and folks are waking up, Bob. The awakening's happening faster and faster.
We're breathing down their necks, as you say.
All right, buddy. We'll talk to you soon. Great job to the crew. Everybody have a great weekend. I'll see you back Sunday, 4 to 6 p.m. Sorry to all the other callers. I didn't even get to a lot of the news today, but I'm getting better about it. Keep watching Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. Keep spreading the word. We're supposed to be the salt of the earth, folks.
David